All right, hello everyone. This is Dallas McClain from Biohackers Magazine. We are here at the Biohacking Congress in Miami. We are thrilled to continue learning from top experts. I have an expert with me today, Anthony Cirino. He is the head of business development for Bioniq in North America. Anthony, welcome.
Thanks, Dallas. Super happy to be here.
We're thrilled to have you, and we are super enthusiastic about diving into all things biohacking and with your company. So can we first start with a little bit of your history and your mission and how that's kind of changed over the course of years to drive you into this Bioniq head of business development?
Yeah, absolutely. So my journey started, I've been training rigorously when it comes to strength and conditioning for over a decade.
Sure.
And, primarily my main focus then was how can I improve my physical performance? And everything was around physical, right? Nothing was really taken further than that, right? So my story then continued to kind of getting into endurance sports. And when I got into endurance sports, and specifically racing, I had this realization that I not only needed to focus on my physical performance, like my VO2 max and all that stuff, but also on my inner health and understanding from a nutritional standpoint, from a supplementation standpoint, how can I optimize my body? So kind of that brought me towards a place where I got super knowledgeable about my own health. And what that meant was really understanding from a biomarker standpoint what's happening in my body and why am I feeling certain symptoms like weakness, fatigue, some brain fog. And that came to the realization that, we need to really do not only a baseline assessment of our health, but also routine testing to really see what's happening, to be able to then provide actionable recommendations. And so, came into Bioniq, and the mission of Bioniq is to make health accessible and actionable. And that's super, that resonated with me today on my mission of creating the best versions of myself.
I see. And when you were going through this experience of wanting to make yourself better physically and everything, did that start out as a utilitarian end of just making yourself look better rather than looking more on the inside and doing it more for the benefits of how you feel and who you are on the inside?
Yeah, I think when it comes to physical performance, one is obviously to look good. And when you start off, especially when you start off at a young age, that's what you kind of focus on.
Definitely.
Right? I'm in my 20s, and I can say that, I'm probably one of the youngest here at the event that actually takes all this thing into consideration, where now it's no longer about how can I look physically.
Right.
It's how can I feel better and not just live longer. It's how can I live better for longer.
Right. Right. And I would even say when you get to a point after working out and focusing only on the physical side, you get to a point where when you realize you stop doing it or you miss part of your routine, you notice there's something deeper inside you that's kind of changed. You're like, I don't just do this to look good anymore. I do this really to feel like I'm being the best person and giving the best that I can. I'm sure you notice after a workout, you feel those endorphins rushing in and everything, and you just feel like you're able to contribute more because you went through that good stressful experience.
Yeah. And, I think a lot of the people that are here at this event, at the Biohacking Congress, we consider ourselves as biohackers or at least health enthusiasts.
Yes.
And people here we're not just here just to survive. We're here to thrive.
Yes.
We're here to be the best version of ourselves, to implement certain recommendations as part of a protocol to actually make us better.
Right.
So I think we all share kind of the same kind of at least overall mission or goal of ourselves to become the best versions of ourselves.
Right.
And it's really cool to have these conversations and kind of educate the people on, knowing your body and then creating those recommendations accordingly.
Most definitely. And it's not something that's driven from the ego. I think
Absolutely.
It's something that is community based. If you focus on your health to the point of making yourself better, it's for the mission of giving back and giving the best energy and the best version of yourself back to the service of the community.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. So when we're talking about Bioniq, then how does this come into play when someone is searching for ways that they can make those health adjustments to help them become the better person?
Yeah, so Bioniq specializes in personalized supplements. And today we live in an era where personalization and customization is in pretty much everything, right? You look at online retailers, we're getting recommendations based on what we've seen and what we've previously purchased. You go on streaming platforms and you have recommendations on what you've previously watched and what you might like. When it comes to supplements and the way it is today, we still think of it as like a one size fits all, right? And the way Bioniq comes in is that we utilize data and blood test data specifically, as well as health questionnaires, to be able to create a personalized formula in one form to be able to optimize. So I think there's another point on having the data, but then not knowing what to do with it.
Right.
So we empower individuals to kind of understand their health and take their health into their own hands. And then from that, we not only provide recommendations, we provide actionable recommendations. So part of our client journey, our clients have a consultation with their nutritionists where they go through dietary recommendations, personalized based on their blood test. And similarly with the supplementation side, it's a protocol that they get on, and it's not, hey, just go buy this, go buy that, go buy this.
Yeah.
We create your formula for you, and that's adaptable over time. Health is not stagnant, or it's not just the same all the time. I wish it was always going up in the right direction, but unfortunately sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. There's so many factors, whether it's stress, traveling, nutritional, lifestyle, exercise. There's a lot of factors that play into our health.
Yes.
So when you analyze your blood and your biomarkers over time, things need to change, and things need to be adapted according to your current health status.
And are those things adapted on a month-by-month basis, or how frequently do you meet with those people that are going through those?
So usually it's on a quarterly basis.
Quarterly, okay.
So every 3 months, we reassess and we do those blood tests again. And from those new blood test results, we're able to create a brand new formula for our clients and for our members, which then takes into account the most recent data points that we have.
Okay. And talking about the formula, what types of supplements or what categories do you offer, or what are the most often that are used when you're formulating these for clients?
So we have, our formulas can be comprised of vitamins, microelements, amino acids, and other herbal components. We have over 120 different components, and in any given formula we can put up to 54 components. Basically everything that your body might need and nothing of what your body does not need.
Okay.
So the initial step is, hey, let's look at the data, let's look at what you need,
Right.
and then let's optimize from there.
And what type of technology are you guys using to personalize the supplements for clients?
So we use our algorithm that helps us create the formulas themselves. So we have, operationally, we're coming to our 5th year. So the company was founded in 2019,
Okay.
Based in the UK. So we have over a decade of scientific research and clinical data that we have. So we've gathered over 3 million biochemical data points that helps us really be able to provide the most personalized formulas for our members.
Okay. And when we're looking at the most personalized formula for members, is there a commonality, a common thread that usually runs in each of those? Maybe it's based on location or different metrics that you can spot?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll touch base as well tomorrow on the lecture, which we're discussing global nutrient deficiencies.
Okay.
And a lot of it, what we see is when it comes to the vitamins that we're tracking in terms of our health, we see deficiencies globally, right? Obviously, some differences based on the region.
Sure.
But generally, a lot of us are deficient in vitamin D, for example,
Right.
or a lot of the B vitamins as well. So these are some of the commonalities that we can see across our members in different regions.
Yeah. So also, like, if someone is deficient in something and you guys are doing this test, and are there cases where you still give them that supplement and you notice improvement, but then maybe you notice a plateau and you notice that maybe it's something deeper than just the nutrient deficiency, like a gene that has trouble, like, processing or changing that molecule?
Yeah, and the when it comes to deficiencies, it can't just always go up, right? Like there's a cap to that, and the goal here when it comes to nutrient deficiencies is to have optimal levels. If you keep going up and up, then it can lead to overconsumption of certain vitamins. So we cap it kind of at that optimal level.
Okay.
So over time, that's what the beauty of health tracking and routine blood tests is, that you're able to see what's happening in your body. Mm-hmm. If we see trends in your body that indicate certain aspects, then we can then recommend further investigation. Or we're not medical, so we're a nutritional supplement, but we can then recommend, like, for example, if your TSH gets flagged, then you might do a little bit more further testing when it comes to that specifically.
And talking about the supplements themselves and the micronutrient profile, we all know how like important it is to like get things into our body, but get them from the right source. So what's unique about Bioniq and how you guys source those vitamins and minerals?
Yeah, so we manufacture our granules in Switzerland. And granules is a term, or the way you look at the supplements, it's not very common to see supplements in that form. Usually it's tablets or even powders. And the reason why we use granules is to enhance the absorption of the active ingredients. And the way we do that is through a slow absorption process. So when you intake the granules, it slowly absorbs it and slowly releases into your body over several hours.
Yeah.
So what that does is helps with the absorption, one, and two, limits any interactions that usually occur when you take a regular supplementation. So that's kind of what's unique on kind of the way we create the granules, and why we create the granules is to make them more bioavailable.
And people generally take this with food, or are they just taking it by itself and letting that mechanical digestion take place as well?
So you can take it straight with water, you can mix it in a juice, you can put it in a
Smoothies, yeah.
or protein shakes. Some people actually get pretty creative, and we recommend certain options as well. We just can't mix it with anything that's hot, like warm beverages, for example.
Okay.
So people actually put them over acai bowls,
Oh,
yogurt,
nice. Yeah.
overnight oats. These are some of the creative ways that people can actually intake their supplements, and it makes it a different way to take supplements than just swallowing capsules as well.
And what are some changes that you've noticed after starting to take them, and what are some other observations you've seen from some common clients?
Yeah, from myself as a personal experience, when I started off, I was heavily involved in training. I was training for big races, so I was tracking everything. I was tracking my sleep, I was tracking my physical performance, and I started tracking my health in terms of biomarkers. So the main things that I felt was better sleep. So how I justified that was my time awake during the night, which was reduced over a 3-month period. So during my 3 months of nutritional recommendations I've implemented in my diet, the supplements that I've implemented in my diet, I was able to reduce the time awake during the night.
Nice.
Meaning I woke up more refreshed. I had more sustained energy throughout the day. I was ready for my physical training the next day. So that was a big thing. And also on the cognitive side, when it comes to, especially, like I have a lot of conversations with employees, and we work a lot with the corporate wellness and a lot of organizations who want to have good employee benefits.
Sure.
A lot of the feedback I get is they lack concentration, they lack energy, and this is all due to like cognitive function, and it can lead to, or can be an impact or a result of nutrient deficiencies. So a lot of the feedback that I've been receiving is that the brain fog has left completely, right? Or they have more sustained energy, they feel better when they wake up. So these are pretty cool like success stories that I'm able to kind of share with our members and really hear from them on a first-hand experience.
I love hearing that. Yeah, of course. And what about with regards to people that go through that pain to purpose story of maybe having like some chronic illness or chronic disease? Have you heard of any testimonies like that of people using Bioniq?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to our health, there's so many different factors that come in, right?
Sure.
It's not just supplementation, it's not just nutrition, and there's a variety of factors. And you mentioned genetics as well as a huge factor. So I think where we come in is kind of that platform that helps users understand what's happening.
Yeah.
So a lot of people come in and have no idea what's happening, whether it's a chronic condition or whether it's deficiencies, or sometimes we see things in the blood without even knowing or feeling symptoms of that. So when it comes to prevention, we were able to kind of look at the blood test results, and our members can see trends. And if I go to my doctor, for example, or if I see someone that's a specialist, I have data going back from months and months and months. Every quarter of blood tests, we're able to see trends in my health, and we're able to detect diseases earlier. We're able to effectively manage treatment. So again, I think that's the big thing when it comes to monitoring and tracking your health over time.
That's a good point. Yeah, definitely. It takes continual tracking and awareness, right? You need that constant awareness. And that's what's so great about the 3 months checking in quarterly is you're always kind of have a good idea of where you stand health-wise. And let's pivot a little bit and talk, because you're head of business development in North America. what are you seeing on the forefront of the supplementation industry now, and how are you guys staying ahead of just the trend?
Yeah, from a business development side, we look to partner with various different organizations, right? Like I touched a little bit on the corporate wellness and getting into the organizations to help their employees feel better at work, but also in their daily lives. Right? A lot of the corporate wellness pieces are things that can help people in the workplace.
Yeah.
Where, routine blood testing and recommendations from a supplement standpoint or recommendation helps them not only in the workplace, but also helps them in their daily lives. So that's been great to get involved. We've done some wellness talks for some really cool organizations. More on the health and wellness. So we look to partner with health and wellness brands and organizations that offer certain services, and we can come in as a partner with them to provide that unique experience and that personalization aspect.
Right.
So I think we can agree that a lot of people nowadays, we have personalization in almost everything that we have. So
right.
People want that aspect of customization, personalization aspect. So we're able to enhance customer experience aligned with our partners and help not only elevate our brand, but elevate their brand as well through differentiation, product differentiation, and offering that personalized solution.
I love it. And when you're dealing with the people that are just customers at a very client-based level, do you encounter, and how do you deal with this if you do encounter some type of skepticism? Because some people are skeptical of it's just another supplement, it's not going to help me. Do you guys work with them on a coaching basis too?
Yeah, so part of the consultation, this helps our clients understand what's happening in their body, but also why we've selected certain components to achieve optimal health ultimately, right? So I think there's a lot of skepticism around kind of supplementation, but where we stand is let's look at the data, right? Sure, you can feel better over a 3-month period on a certain protocol, but let's look at the data. Let's look at the initial screenshot that gives us a window into your health, and let's reevaluate, let's reassess 3 months later, and seeing how those deficiencies have changed, have improved over time.
Yeah.
And we've seen the majority of our members increase their micronutrient levels simply over a 3-month period. We have a decade of research, we have clinical data, so we're backed by science, and we're backed by data. At the end of the day, when you look at the data, we get to see what's happening.
I love that. Yeah, we have to look at the data and let the data speak for itself. But there's also that important quality of belief, in the product, that someone has to be willing to,
absolutely,
give up their will to try this product, and with the intention that it's going to work, and follow the data. So that you need, those both sides to definitely get the most out of it, I think. When we're talking about bioniq and people that are trying this, with regards to athletes, you mentioned you were an athlete too, because it seems like this can be something not just for the everyday person, but someone that's trying to get 1%, 2% better in their game. Have you heard any testimonies, or what is your experience with that faucet?
Yeah, and before we get to athletes specifically,
sure,
we have quite a variety of members. So we have people who are later stages of their lives where they hit 50 and they want to age healthy, right? So we have that kind of segment of customers, and we have the regular individual who wants to just optimize their health, and we also have professional athletes who want that next level and really understand their body and then have actionable recommendations. We've worked with triathletes in the past, and the feedback that I've received from these kinds of people were from an endurance standpoint. So they've seen better endurance when it comes to their sport
right.
or their activity.
Right.
So that's the main feedback that I've received talking to these triathletes, these ultramarathon runners, which was great to see.
That's so important. And I imagine across the board, when we're considering all the different categories of your clients, when they encounter challenges or illnesses, even maybe they do show a little bit of symptoms, but the symptoms are way more easy to deal with because of their nutrient uptake and their increased micronutrients.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so that's really cool to think about when we're going through life and you get so busy and you're always moving forward, and then sickness comes and you're able to deal with it a little bit better. That's always a nice reprieve when you're going through life. So I wanted to also just mention, when we're talking about nutrients, how because some people may not understand the difference between macro and micronutrients. What is the interplay there when you're considering formulating something when someone has a certain diet, or they focus on getting certain macros, and you have to formulate something for micros for them?
So we specialize in the micronutrients,
Okay.
and we know that the majority comes from our diet, and we look at macronutrients on that point. But when it comes to the micronutrients, we look at not only the data from the blood test, but we also consider the health goals of our clients. Some people, they want to just age healthy. Some people want to focus more on a cognitive standpoint. Athletes want to focus on the physical performance. So we don't only look at the data, we also look at kind of their health goals. And two things that are different in every single unique member is health status and health goals.
Mm-hmm.
So we're able to kind of match the two to provide vitamins and microelements to complement their nutritional aspect and the dietary aspect as well.
Okay, great. Well, I've certainly learned a lot today here, Anthony, and I really look forward to talking again and hearing your speech tomorrow at the Biohacking Congress. So please, I'm going to give you the last word to let everyone listening and watching know more about Bioniq and how they can find out more.
Thanks, Dallas. So if you want to hear more about Bioniq, if you want to know a little bit more about your health, if you want to get knowledgeable, the thing I would say is take that first step. Reach out to us on bioniq.com. Get in touch with one of our client managers. Let's schedule a call. Let's get more in tune with our health, and let's make health more accessible and actionable.
Well said. All right, Dallas McClain, Biohackers Magazine, signing off from the Biohacking Congress. Thanks, everyone.